Billionaire stumbles upon Waitress's secret code, the shocking solution to his company's crisis. Evelyn had always felt something strange lingered in the air at the bustling diner where she worked. The last rays of the sun shimmered through the greasy windows, creating a golden glow over the sticky red vinyl booths. Every day was a whirlwind of clinking dishes, sizzling grills, and the endless chatter of hungry patrons. But today was different. There was a buzz, a wild hunger for answers coursing through the place, and it was coming from the direction of the corner booth. That's where Leonard Barrett, the tech billionaire everyone loved to loathe, sat, brooding over a cold cup of coffee. His eyes, a deep stormy gray, darted around as if searching for a ghost. Leonard was known for making sweeping changes, but today, he stumbled upon something far more valuable than money. It was the awkward way Evelyn, humbly clad in her worn apron, jotted down orders with an old pencil on a napkin. But it wasn't her writing that caught his attention, it was the odd symbols mixed among the scrawls. Swirls and lines danced across those innocent napkins. What did they mean? Was this waitress some sort of cryptographer hiding her genius behind a facade of greasy spoons and mediocre food? As the other customers chatted about the latest tech failure overrunning Leonard's company, he felt his frustration turning into intrigue. He leaned closer, straining to decipher the strange markings through the haze of sugary syrup and burnt toast. The waitress was oblivious, bustling about, serving food with a smile that masked deeper secrets. The air was thick with unspoken tension, punctuated by the occasional clatter of dropped forks. It was electric, and everyone seemed to sense it. Just hours ago, his company had teetered on the brink of collapse, losses piling high like uneaten pancakes, and here she was, right in front of him, with what he hoped was the breakthrough he needed. But was it mere coincidence, or was there something grander brewing? He felt a tightness in his chest, a mix of dread and excitement. It was a moment that buzzed like a live wire, making his hands tremble against the table's surface. More than just a code was buried in those napkins, it was the key to solving a crisis threatening everything he'd built. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Reeling from his thoughts, Leonard suddenly caught her gaze. Evelyn, shocked, felt a lump in her throat as if those stormy eyes were cutting straight through her. The whole diner went hush. The sizzling grill quieted, and conversations faded into an anxious murmur. Could he truly be interested in her notes, her cryptic, unintentional code? Or was he simply toying with her ignorance like some wealthy puppet master? She began to sweat, panic gnawing at her insides. Evelyn's mind raced. She had no idea what those symbols meant. They had come to her at random, like whispered secrets her hands created when she wasn't looking. Could it all be a remarkable coincidence? Or was fate delivering her the very catalyst for change, for rescue, for a path beyond the clatter of dishes and the monotonous cycle of her day? She began to fidget with her apron strings, the weight of this moment looming larger than life as she realized that it wasn't just her future at stake but potentially Leonard's, too. What would happen next? Would she dare to reveal the truth behind her jumbled symbols, risking everything? Or would she clutch her secrets tightly and let the opportunity slip away like steam off a hot plate? Questions flooded her mind, and somewhere deep inside, she sensed that this was only the beginning of something profound. What could it possibly lead to? Evelyn's heart raced, pounding like a runaway drum inside her chest. The diner held its breath, and for a moment, it felt like time had frozen. Everything she had ever known hung in balance, teetering on the edge of a revelation that could change her life forever. Would she take a leap into the unknown? Leonard leaned even closer, invading her space with an intensity that overwhelmed her. What do these symbols mean? His whisper cut through the thick haze of uncertainty that clouded her mind. The way he scrutinized those napkins made her feel seen, stripped bare of her waitress uniform and the layers of anonymity attached to it. But could she trust him? Just a few hours ago, he was the villain in her story, the millionaire who played with lives like toys. Now here he was, desperate and imploring. The desperation clawing at his features was strangely unsettling, yet strangely captivating. I don't know, she stammered, the words tumbling out in a rush. They're just doodles, I guess. Panic shot through her. Maybe this was all some game to him. A way to exploit her. Doodles? He echoed incredulously, squinting at the napkin as if it might come alive and spill its secrets. Each swirl felt like a puzzle piece, and Evelyn realized she had inadvertently created a riddle meant for someone like him. If only she had any idea what she had conjured. She nodded, attempting to regain her composure, though the tremor in her voice betrayed her. Just things I think of sometimes. Nothing important. She turned away, brushing a few crumbs off the table, avoiding the weight of his gaze. Nothing important. He repeated, almost laughing bitterly. Do you have any idea what you could be sitting on? The urgency in his voice ignited a spark of defiance in her. Why should she lay bare her innermost thoughts to someone who could probably buy her life's story at a whim? Suddenly, the soothing sound of clinking cutlery and laughter faded, swallowed by a cacophony of doubt battling within her. Evelyn took a deep breath, her mind racing as she stood at the precipice of a choice. Those symbols, they showed up when I was stressed, she admitted reluctantly, glancing back at him. They came to me, a sort of release, or something. It felt risky to open this door, but perhaps revealing a sliver of the truth could yield unexpected results. Leonard's expression shifted, his brows furrowing in thought. Release? He murmured, the gears in his mind visibly cranking. What if those aren't just idle scribbles? What if those symbols can unlock something? His excitement ignited hope within her, a strange, unfamiliar sensation. Was there a chance that those seemingly random designs could lead her towards something greater? Could they even save his company, and in turn, give her a chance at a life she yearned for? The diner's atmosphere grew thick with tension as patrons inched closer to catch a glimpse of this unfolding drama. Whispered gossip and wide-eyed stares began to swirl around them, painting a private spell amidst the noise of breakfast and chatter. Before she could think it through, Evelyn found herself saying, If I tell you what I remember about how I feel when I draw them, do you promise to use it for something good? Leonard's eyes widened, a flicker of admiration gleaming in those stormy depths. I promise. Just trust me. But trust was an elusive thing, and as Evelyn stared into those restless eyes, one thought pierced through the haze of her uncertainty: what if unraveling this code also unraveled her life? In that moment, everything felt precariously poised, the future shimmering like a knife's edge. A siren blared outside, cutting through the tension and prompting her to step back and breathe. Wait, she said, hesitating. What if I can't articulate it just right? What if it all goes wrong? Leonard's face hardened momentarily, glimmers of resolve shining through. Then we adapt. That's how crises are solved. Evelyn felt a glimmer of hope clash with the fear gnawing at her gut. Did she have the courage to jump off that cliff, driven by her need for change? Regardless of where it would lead them both. The moment stretched, anticipation crackling like electricity between them. She knew the choice she made now could shatter her reality or soar into something unexpected. And as Leonard leaned closer, leaning into her decision, she sensed that perhaps fate had more surprises waiting around the next corner. What hidden truths lurked beneath the surface? Would she unlock not just a code, but a door to an unexpected future? The moment tilted, and she had to decide who she would become. Evelyn's pulse quickened, fear and excitement dancing like fireflies in her gut. The air around them felt electric, thick with the weight of the choice she was about to make. She held her breath, barely able to comprehend the rolls of tension that twisted through her thoughts. What if they mean something? She whispered, the words hanging heavily in the air. She could feel the curious gazes around her, their judgment a tangible force. How could I possibly know? Leonard's brow furrowed deeply. That's just it. You already sense them. You just need to tap into that feeling. He placed a steadying hand on her arm, an anchor amidst the storm of uncertainty. What do you remember? Focus on that. She looked away, grappling with the shadows from her past. I remember when I was a child, I'd draw during the nights. When the world felt too loud, too big, it was my escape. The burden of sharing a part of herself weighed heavily, but it was impossible to ignore the fierce glint of hope in his steel blue eyes. Escape from what? He pressed, his voice a soothing balm, as if coaxing a flower from its bud. It was my parents, they had their own struggles. I felt trapped. Evelyn swallowed hard, shame creeping into her voice. I drew to let it out. My symbols were meant to guide me. I thought they were just nonsense. They were more than that, he insisted, eyes sparking with intensity. What did they look like? Describe them. Evelyn felt the room spin, every word a hurdle. There were circles, spirals, a kind of linked chain. They were so many things, all jumbled up. I never saw the connections. She looked at him, vulnerability pouring out. What if they don't lead anywhere? Then we will chart our own path. Leonard said, the fervor in his tone stripping away her hesitance. Your symbols could become a code for something bigger. Something that changes lives. Evelyn's apprehension churned, battling against the flicker of hope. But what if it's all meaningless? What if I ruin everything? Leonard leaned back slightly, tilting his head, letting silence stretch painfully between them. The greatest risks often hold the greatest rewards, Evelyn. Trust in what you've created. Just then, the bell above the diner's door chimed loudly, interrupting the charged moment. The sudden intrusion brought a stark reality crashing back. Evelyn was still just a waitress in a small town. The bustle of the diner swallowed them whole, voices drawing her attention to a new arrival. She peered over Leonard's shoulder, her heart sinking. There stood a group of sharp-dressed men, businesslike and imposing. Their eyes scanned the room, searching, the very air around them felt thick with purpose. Something in their demeanor triggered an alarm inside her. What do they want? Evelyn murmured under her breath, trying to keep her voice steady. The tension in her chest reared up once more as she glanced at Leonard, who now wore a cautious expression. They could be investors, or he paused, squinting. Or something worse. We might have limited time. As if suddenly snapped back to reality, she could feel the diner surrounding them shift, viewers suddenly morphed into spectators of a drama unfolding. Time seemed to warp under pressure as she froze on the precipice of an unknown world, her past rushing in like a tidal wave. Would her symbols unlock a future or bury her deeper in uncertainty? Evelyn turned back to Leonard, her voice shaky. What do we do? Trust your instincts. We need to move fast, he urged as a wave of commotion swept towards them. She nodded, the fire in her veins boiling over. Evelyn knew the moment was now or never. Would she leap into the unknown with this man, risking everything she held onto? As they slipped from the booth, the looming presence of those men cast shadows over their escape, a specter of the past rearing its head. She couldn't shake the nagging feeling that danger was closer than it appeared. Evelyn felt the tremor in her hands as they stepped tentatively to the side door, heart racing. The future beckoned like a mirage, tantalizing and uncertain. How long could they run? Together, they crossed into the unknown, leaving the chatter of the diner behind. The siren from earlier echoed in her mind, a reminder of the storm brewing just beyond her grasp. What would the next reveal hold? Would they unravel the meaning or find themselves tangled in something darker? The rush of adrenaline carried them into the murky depths of a perilous mystery. Evelyn's heart thrummed in her ears as she and Leonard slipped through the side door, the rusty knob biting her palm. Outside, the cool air hit her like a splash of cold water, momentarily shocking her senses. The street was dimly lit, shadows stretching like fingers toward them as they darted into the night. What now? She gasped, glancing over her shoulder. The diner's distant chatter faded, but she couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Leonard's gaze flickered, darting to the end of the alley, where flickering streetlights burned in the darkness. "We need to find somewhere safe," he said, urgency lacing his tone. "The symbols, do you remember any more?" Evelyn shook her head, panic twisting inside her. "What if I can't figure them out in time?" "Then we'll figure them out together." Leonard grabbed her wrist gently. His skin was warm, and it calmed her anxiety, if only for a moment. "You trust me, right?" "Right." But the word felt flimsy on her lips, like a thin piece of string tying them together in the chaos. They moved swiftly through the back streets, the low hum of the town at night a stark contrast to the tension curling in her belly. As they turned the corner, she caught sight of a dimly lit bookstore, a refuge in the dark. "There." She pointed, relief flooding her. "Good idea," Leonard replied, pushing the door open with an urgency that made the chime of the bell inside feel deafening. The small shop smelled of musty pages and coffee. Only an elderly man sat behind the register, his head bent over a book. Evelyn stepped inside, her breathing still quick, forced calm settling over her like a thin veil. Leonard locked the door behind them, and just as he turned back, Evelyn caught his eye. "What if they track us here?" The old man lifted his gaze, his eyes wrinkled yet piercing, and seemed to assess their distress. Evelyn felt their presence revealed in the hush of the bookstore, cocooned from the outside world. Leonard leaned closer to her, whispering, "We'll just have to be quiet. Focus on the symbols." The words propelled her back to the jumbled memories, bringing forth fragments of old drawings from the back of her mind. She could see them so clearly now, the spirals, the circles. Those circles, they were connected, as if they formed a path. Leonard nodded, his attention fully on her. "Can you visualize them now? Pull out the meanings." Evelyn closed her eyes, drawing on all she remembered. "They were connected to my dreams. I thought they meant nothing, but maybe they're a map. I just never knew what for." "Focus on that." "What else?" Leonard pressed, his voice steady as if grounding her. Suddenly, the echo of footsteps crept through the empty aisles. Evelyn opened her eyes, her pulse quickening. "What's that?" Leonard's expression hardened. "Stay quiet." They moved to a shadowy corner, pressing themselves against the wall, hearts thumping. The footsteps approached, heavy and deliberate, each one like a drumbeat announcing their impending doom. "Evelyn, don't panic," Leonard whispered, trying to stifle the tremor in his voice. "If they're here for us, we have to think. What do you remember about your drawings? Can you see the bigger picture?" Evelyn's mind raced. "I don't know." The circles were always outside, in the moonlight, and a loud bang interrupted her thoughts, a book crashing to the floor nearby. The old man's whisper came low from behind the counter, "What are you kids doing in here?" Evelyn felt trapped, the weight of reality crashed down on her. Were they even safe in what they thought protected them? But then, realization struck. Maybe her symbols weren't just for her, maybe they were meant for something more pressing, something darker. What if they held the key to the threats surrounding them? Evelyn stared wide-eyed at Leonard, clarity dawning. "We have to decode them. Right now." He nodded, fear giving way to determination. "Whatever the meaning, we'll need it to confront them before it's too late." "But can you remember any more? Any detail?" She took a deep breath, focusing on the chaotic puzzle in her mind. But in that moment of clarity, the door rattled, a forceful push sending the bell chiming in a frantic panic. They weren't alone anymore. What did the shadows want? Would they discover the truth before it swallowed them whole? The impending storm bore down on them, and the secrets of the past wrapped tighter around Evelyn like a noose. Evelyn's breath hitched in her throat as she pressed back into the wall, her mind racing. The ringing of the bell sliced through the silence like a knife. The door rattled again, more forcefully this time, as if something or someone was determined to get in. "Stay still," Leonard murmured, his eyes fixated on the door. The old man behind the counter shifted nervously but didn't speak. Evelyn's heart pounded, each beat reverberating through her chest like a warning. "What if they come in?" she whispered. I don't know, Leonard said, his voice strained. But we can't let them find you. You're the key to everything. The words hung heavy in the air, transforming the cozy bookstore into a stage for their dark dilemma. The rattling halted, silence taking its place. Evelyn exchanged a glance with Leonard, both of them still as statues, ears straining for sounds of movement outside. Just when she thought the danger had passed, a low voice slipped through the crack of the door. Leonard, you know we can sense you. Evelyn felt the chill run down her spine. It was hollow, almost mocking. It's Andrew, Leonard said through clenched teeth. Who's Andrew? She hissed, fear coiling tight. He's with the organization, the one hunting me. A sudden urgency gripped her as she pushed through her panic. He knows something about the symbols. I can't let him take you, Leonard stated, panic edging into his tone as he scanned the room for options. Evelyn's mind whirred back to those dreamlike images. The circles. If he knows, maybe he has already figured out what they mean. The door rattled again, more aggressively this time, and she could feel the air becoming charged, electric with anticipation. Leonard, I need to focus. What else did I see? Evelyn murmured, almost to herself. She felt the pull of those symbols, lingering shapes that slipped away just out of reach. We don't have much time, Leonard replied, glancing at the ceiling as if hoping for an escape route. Evelyn. Andrew's voice rose, a sharp reminder of the threat outside. We just want to talk. No need to hide. A surge of defiance flared in Evelyn's chest. She was sick of running. Pushing away her fear, she pressed her palm against the wall, feeling the rough texture beneath her fingertips. Leonard, what if the symbols are not just a map but a trap? What if they were meant to lead them to me? Leonard met her gaze fiercely. Then we need to be smarter. Andrew's voice turned low and sinister. You don't want to make this difficult, Leonard. You know how this ends. Just let her go. Evelyn felt her chest tighten, anger boiling with fear. I have to confront him. I have to know. No. Leonard shot back, fear clouding his eyes. You could get hurt. Or I could finally have answers, she pressed, stepping away from the wall with resolve. Stay here, silently fall into their trap, or take a chance. The door shuttered again, and Evelyn felt the urge to move forward. Taking a deep breath, she nodded, determination solidifying in her gut. Leonard's brow furrowed, and she could see him weighing his options in that flash of desperation. All right, he relented, but if you do this, we do it together. With her heart racing in sync with the chaos outside, Evelyn turned, facing the door. In that moment of clarity, she broke free of the shadows that had trapped her for so long. The door burst open, revealing Andrew, a shadow against the dim light. In his eyes was a mixture of triumph and something darker. Finally, the truth shall unfold, he said, a twisted smile creeping across his lips. Evelyn took a step forward, fiercely unyielding. What do you know about the symbols, Andrew? What are you hiding? The atmosphere crackled as the two locked eyes, and the tension was palpable. Every secret has a price, Evelyn, he said, his smile widening, and you're about to pay it. What secret would Evelyn uncover? Would she find the truth or become another cipher in a game much larger than herself? Evelyn's pulse thundered in her ears as she squared her shoulders, forcing herself to meet Andrew's unsettling gaze. The bookstore felt smaller, the shadows closing in as his presence stretched into the flickering light. Why don't you just tell me the truth, she challenged, her voice steady despite the tremors beneath her skin. Andrew chuckled softly, spinning a casual circle with one hand resting on the door frame. Oh, but where's the fun in that? His smirk faded, replaced by a cold seriousness. You think you have the upper hand? You're unaware of the forces at play. Leonard shifted uncomfortably beside her, eyes darting, ready to spring. He didn't trust Andrew, and neither did she. What do you want from me? Evelyn demanded, anger simmering. He stepped closer, his voice dripping with menace. The symbols you dreamt of, they're more than just patterns. They're a map to something very powerful, something that has been hidden for decades. Evelyn swallowed hard. The weight of his words creased her brow. The circles and lines she hadn't fully understood now pulsed like a beacon in her mind, each one beckoning her closer to an undeniable truth. And you think I'm the key? Exactly, Andrew rejoiced, eyes glinting with triumph. You don't know it yet, but you're intimately connected to this mystery. They've been waiting for someone like you. She felt a deep, instinctual dread. Waiting for me? Yes. A low chuckle escaped him. Speaking of waiting, your little friend here has been rather chatty behind the scenes. His gaze sharpened as it shifted to Leonard, who stiffened, muscles tensed like a coiled spring. Leave him out of this, Evelyn interjected, a protective instinct surging within her. Andrew shrugged, an unconcerned smile plastered on his face. That's not how this works. He's only delaying the inevitable. Evelyn stepped back, her mind racing. She couldn't let Andrew use fear as a weapon. You don't control me. I'll find the truth without you. Andrew leaned closer, eyes boring into hers, his breath cold against her cheek. You think you can? Every symbol is a thread, and you are woven into their tapestry. One way or another, you'll unravel the story even if it destroys you. A clang echoed through the room, and the old man behind the counter dropped a stack of books, breaking the standoff. The clatter snapped the tension like a strand of overloaded wire. Evelyn's heart raced, and she turned her gaze between Andrew and Leonard, each man representing a different set of deadly stakes. Enough games. Leonard shouted, stepping in front of her. You've pushed us far enough. In that moment, Evelyn felt a charge in the air, a tingling signifying that the confrontation had reached a critical junction. We can't keep running, she urged Leonard, her voice steadier now. Andrew's laugh echoed, but it was strained, frustrated. You're making a big mistake, Evelyn. Digging deeper will only lead to destruction. Leonard's glare drilled into Andrew. Why are you so eager for her to fail? What do you stand to lose? Andrew smiled, devoid of warmth. It's what I want you to see. Secrets aren't just valuable for their content, their price is often high and deadly. Evelyn grasped Leonard's arm, her heart racing as she realized the truth. Everything was connected, and facing Andrew was just the beginning. Tell me what I need to know, Andrew. Now you're catching on, he sneered. But let us be clear, the deeper you go, the darker it gets. Ready for what's next? A heavy silence blanketed the room, thick with uncertainty. But before she could respond, a loud crash echoed from the back of the bookstore, sending ripples of panic through everyone present. Evelyn's mind raced. What was happening? Was it one of Andrew's allies? We're not alone, she whispered, fear clawing at the edge of her senses. Andrew's grin widened. That's right, Evelyn. The game is just beginning. What threat loomed behind that door? Would they be able to confront the darkness lurking in the corners of their world? The noise echoed again, sharper this time, reverberating off the walls like a warning bell. Evelyn's heart raced, the dread creeping into her bones. Andrew's smirk shifted to a look of intrigue and challenge as he glanced over his shoulder, clearly entertained by the chaos that unfolded. Looks like they've come to join the party, he said nonchalantly, almost as if he were awaiting an old friend rather than a potential threat. Get back! Leonard shouted, stepping forward as if to shield her from the impending realization of danger. He glanced at the shelves piled high with paperbacks, some teetering precariously. We need to get out of here. But Evelyn couldn't move. She was rooted to the spot, her mind swirling. The symbols Andrew had mentioned, the ones she had seen in dreams, intrigued her. What if they weren't just a coincidence? What if they were a key to understanding the chaos surrounding her? In the distance, the noise rose, muffled voices arguing. The unmistakable heavy thud of footsteps echoed in cadence, growing closer. She could feel the weight of Leonard's tension beside her. It felt thick, like fog that obscured clarity. "I won't let them drag you into this," Leonard hissed, his eyes hardening, darting between Andrew and the source of the noise. With a sudden force, Andrew lunged towards the back room, which had shadowy figures looming in the doorway. "Let them come. They are part of the game too." Evelyn's pulse quickened as she finally found her voice. "No. We can't let them touch any of this. It's mine." She gestured toward the remnants of her visions, the symbols interwoven in her thoughts shining like stars in her mind. "Evelyn!" Leonard urged, his frustration palpable. "This isn't a joke. Come on." But she refused to yield. She stepped toward the back room, where the shadows danced ominously. The air crackled with energy as the figures emerged, cloaked and shrouded. She squinted, searching their faces. They looked familiar, faces that mingled in her dreams too. "Interesting how fate brings people together," Andrew said, amusement dripping from his voice as he leaned back against the counter, arms crossed, watching her intrigue unfold. Then, two men stepped further into the light. Evelyn's breath caught. Recognizing them, a chill slithered down her spine. They were associates of Andrew, the ones she had seen in her nightmares. Their eyes held a glimmer of something sinister, an unspoken intent that sent shivers through her. "Evelyn," the taller one said, his voice smooth yet chilling. "We've been looking for you. The symbols you carry, they're a door. And we need to unlock it." Leonard instinctively took a step forward, but Evelyn held him back, feeling a strange compulsion to hear them out. "What do you want?" He smiled menacingly. "We're here to help you access your true potential. You just need to follow us." "Help? Or control?" Leonard spat, anger vibrating in his voice. "She won to be dragged into your games." "But you don't understand," the shorter one replied, his voice low. "The truth is much darker than you think. Andrew isn't the enemy, but neither are we. The real risk lies within those symbols. They hold something unfathomable, and it's time for you to find it." Evelyn's mind reeled. What lay ahead? Were they truly allies, or was she walking into a trap? A deep sense of unease churned in her gut. "I'm not going anywhere until I know the truth." Andrew stepped forward, crossing into her space. "Then you will have to decide. Will you embrace the shadows, or will you flee into the unknown?" The tension thickened as the shadows of her desires contended with the cold reality before her. What would she discover if she dared to go deeper? Would the shadows reveal the truth, or would they devour her whole? The air tightened, hummed with the gathering danger, as Evelyn's heartbeat echoed in her ears. Andrew's words hung between them, thick with uncertainty. Shadows swirled, mixing with an intoxicating allure that pulled her closer. "Unlock it," she repeated, her voice trembling. The symbols danced in her mind, shimmering like echoes of some hidden truth. "Exactly," the taller one said, slowly advancing, his eyes sharp like nails. "You have the key that can unleash something far greater than you can imagine. But it requires your acceptance. Your commitment." Leonard stepped in front of her, a shield forged of raw determination. "Stay back. You think you can manipulate her? She's not a pawn in your game." A smile flitted across the shorter man's face, slick and cold. "You misunderstand our intentions. This is not a game. This is destiny." Evelyn's mind raced. Destiny? What if they were telling the truth? Would it solve the emptiness she felt inside, the persistent unease of being lost in dreams she couldn't decipher? "And what if I refuse?" she challenged, trying to mask her fear with defiance. "Then you risk losing everything," the tall man replied, stepping closer. She could see the glimmer of something dark shifting in his gaze. "These symbols are a part of you. You can't outrun what you are." Evelyn inhaled sharply, an icy shiver racing down her spine as the weight of their words pressed down on her. Behind her, Leonard's body stiffened, and she felt the heat of his anger radiating. Get away from her! He shouted, fists clenched, ready to strike. Leonard, wait! Evelyn cried, her voice cracking. Could she trust him? Whatever these men were planning, she wasn't about to leap blindly into the unknown. But the promise of uncovering the symbols pulled her deeper, darkly inviting. Think of it this way, the tall man said, voice low and smooth like velvet. You could embrace who you truly are. Step into your power or remain forever in the dark. Why would you even want to help her? Leonard spat. What are you really after? Power is a byproduct, the shorter man replied, waving a hand dismissively. What we seek is knowledge. The symbols you possess could rewrite everything we know about our existence. They are the key to a new awakening. Evelyn felt the weight of their words flood her senses. Knowledge or control? Power or entrapment? Do you want to run away with Leonard? The taller man prodded. Because the world that awaits you is much larger than this small life you've carved out. Will you watch it fade, or will you stand with us? Before Evelyn could respond, the ground beneath them trembled, a subtle quake that rattled the shelves. Books cascaded to the floor, pages flapping like caged birds, and she felt something shift within her, an unsettling connection to the symbols, thrumming like a heartbeat. Everyone, stay calm. Andrew called, his voice steady amidst the chaos, but even he looked perturbed as the tremors intensified. What is happening? Leonard shouted, eyes darting to the darkened doorway where shadows seemed to leap and twist. The door is waking. The taller man exclaimed, excitement clear in his voice. You have to decide now, Evelyn. Embrace the shadows or deny them. Evelyn stood in the eye of the storm, heart racing. Everything hinged on this moment, the choice between following her fears into the dark or stepping forward into the unknown. As the tremors crescendoed around her, she gripped the edge of the counter, fighting the pull of chaos. What awaited her on the other side? Would she emerge powerful or be swallowed whole? The answer lay in the symbols swirling in her mind, and the choice bubbled dangerously close to the surface. Evelyn. Leonard's voice cut through the noise like a lifeline. Please, think. This isn't just about you. But was it? Time is running out. The shorter man barked, urgent, as the darkness crept closer, tendrils wrapping around her mind. What would she choose? And at what cost? The tremors morphed into violent shakes, rattling the very foundations of the room. Books flew from the shelves in chaotic bursts, and Evelyn staggered, gripping the counter for support. Her heart thundered like a warning siren as shadows twisted around her, beckoning her to step forward. Evelyn, please. Leonard's voice cracked, desperation lacing his words. He took a step toward her, arms outstretched, ready to pull her back from the precipice. We don't know what they're capable of. Don't do this. What if they're right? Evelyn shot back, her voice trembling but fierce. What if I could finally be who I'm meant to be? What if these symbols, what if they're my chance at something more? Or they could destroy you, Leonard said, his eyes pleading. You can't let fear guide you into darkness. Remember who you are. A flash of uncertainty rippled through her as she wrestled with her choice. The allure of power was intoxicating. Yet her connection to Leonard felt like a lifeline, grounding her amidst the chaos. She could sense the dark energy coiling around her, whispering promises and instilling fear. Could she stand strong against it? The tall man leaned closer, an eager glint in his eyes. You feel it, don't you? The power within you. The symbols are awakening your true self. Just take my hand, and all will be revealed. No. Leonard shouted, his voice shaking with anger and fear. Don't let him manipulate you. Suddenly, the tremors increased in frequency, and a piercing light erupted from the darkened doorway. It was dazzling, blinding her for a moment, driving the shadows back. Evelyn squinted, trying to process what was happening. The light flickered, revealing fleeting images, glimpses of a world beyond the walls, of untold wonders and fears. Visions danced in her mind, a life bursting with energy and light but steeped in darkness. The symbols pulsed like a heartbeat, resonating within her. She felt tethered to something greater, yet lost in its pull. This was no mere choice. It was momentous, life-altering. Evelyn. Andrew's voice broke through the chaos, fierce but calm. You're not alone. Fight this. Remember your worth. Each word fueled her resistance. She thought of her life before, all this ordinary yet valuable. The mundane days gave her comfort, filled with laughter and warmth. She refused to think of darkness as her destiny. Not your game. She shouted, pushing against the force constricting her mind. She felt the symbol's answers flood her subconscious, a surge of clarity slicing through the confusion. You dare fight it? The short man snapped, his anger palpable. The shadows thickened, swirling more violently now, creating a vortex of darkness around them. You'll regret this. Stay back. Leonard shouted, stepping closer and drawing her protectively to him. We'll face whatever this is together. Blinding light suddenly burst forth from Evelyn, illuminating the room and scattering the shadows. The force emanated from the very symbols, the key that pulsed deep in her veins. It radiated through her, merging with her resolve. Was this her true power? Without thinking, she thrust her hands forward, releasing an energy that spun and twisted, powerful enough to pierce through the darkness. The taller man recoiled, shock painted across his features. What have you done? He stammered, eyes wide in horror. I don't know. But I refuse to be a pawn in your game. Evelyn exclaimed, feeling a sense of freedom pulsating through her. The light transformed the room, revealing groaning walls and frayed edges of the reality they stood in. But as the shadows retreated, a new sense of danger emerged. All at once, the dark figures shimmered, their features swirling into a mass of rage. What to unleash has already begun, the shorter man hissed, retreating into obscurity. You've only delayed the inevitable. Evelyn's heart sank. It wasn't over. What had she set in motion? As the tremors quieted into a haunting hush, the room remained charged with uncertainty. What does it mean? Leonard whispered, his voice edged with fear. Whatever it is, Evelyn replied. I think we've only scratched the surface. The brightness around them flickered, revealing shadowed paths ahead, each one leading deeper into the unknown. What lay ahead for Evelyn? Would she face the shadows unleashed back to her life, or would she find strength in the chaos? The atmosphere in the bookstore shifted as the light from Evelyn's outburst faded. Uncertainty dripped like sweat from the walls, heavy and unyielding. Leonard's grip on her arm remained firm, grounding her with the warmth of his presence. But both of them knew this was just the beginning. What was that? Leonard's voice held a mixture of disbelief and awe. I think I drew on the symbols, Evelyn replied, breathing hard, each inhale filled with uncertainty. The echoes of power still vibrated in the air around them, a last flicker of her defiance. But what does it mean? The tall man, regaining his composure, narrowed his eyes, his expression morphing from anger to calculated interest. You may have unleashed something, but you still don't see what's at stake. You have the potential to tap into world-altering realities. Evelyn faltered, searching for clarity. But I don't want to alter worlds. I just wanted to escape. It's not just about you anymore, he hissed, advancing with a predatory glint in his eyes. You dabble with powers greater than your understanding. It's a burden, the same burden your symbols carry. Then we have to get rid of them, Leonard declared, stepping protectively in front of her. His facade of control cracked ever so slightly, revealing a man on the edge of fear. Evelyn felt a swell of courage rise within her. Wait. Before you get rid of anything, I need to know the truth about the symbols. They mean something, they always have. Andrew stepped forth, smirking. I see you found strength. Perhaps you're not as naive as I thought after all. Enough. Evelyn shouted, her voice steady, fueled by a newfound determination. She squared her shoulders, feeling the remnants of her previous power coalescing into something she could channel. Tell me what I need to know. All you need to do is connect the dots, the tall man replied, voice smooth as silk. The symbols were never meant to be dismissed. They were created for guidance to break the chains of fear binding you to this existence. Guidance for what? Leonard growled, frustration boiling over. Are you trying to control her again? Evelyn turned to Leonard, searching his intense gaze for understanding, but felt a pang of apprehension flicker between them. Leonard, if there's a chance these symbols could lead to something meaningful, I owe it to myself to explore it. No, he said firmly. I won't risk you becoming a target for them again. But the urgency in Evelyn's spirit roared louder. But if they really hold answers, I have to try. Otherwise, what was the point of all of this? A trembling silence enveloped the room once more, the hard truths hanging between them. She looked back to Andrew, a desperate determination mingling with fear. What do I need to do? He stepped back, watching her quizzically as if gauging her resolve. The answer lies in the depths of the symbols. They reflect desire, fear, and potential. But they won't reveal themselves without you allowing them to guide you. It will be both enlightening and dangerous. All right, Evelyn said, her heart pounding as adrenaline thrummed through her veins. I'm ready. Let us do this, Leonard said, his voice now a steady whisper. Though concern lined his features, there was a flicker of pride, too, a reflection of the bond they forged. Very well, the tall man nodded, beckoning them closer. He moved to the now jagged doorway, shadows gliding behind him like ghostly tendrils urging them along. You'll need more than just courage. You must confront your deepest fears and desires. I won't let that control me again, Evelyn asserted, nerves buzzing. They exchanged glances, unified, stepping into the deep darkness beyond the threshold. As they moved, the essence of the symbols whispered around them like the rush of wind through trees. The world contracted and expanded, twisting around them, revealing windows into fragments of their past, laden with shadows and flickering lights. Evelyn. Andrew called, his tone darkening. You must understand the sacrifices involved. Power comes at a price. Are you willing to pay it? We are. Not afraid of sacrifice, Leonard countered sharply, squeezing Evelyn's hand. We'll face whatever lies ahead, together. With a final surge of resolve, they stepped forward as the threshold flickered, light and shadows intertwining, revealing paths into the uncharted depths of the unknown. Here, they would confront the ghosts of their fears, face the chaos unraveling their lives, and perhaps just perhaps discover the profound truth hidden in Evelyn's symbols. Their journey had only just begun. Now, if you loved this story and want to keep the adventure going, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel. Don't miss a single exclusive story that will take you on unforgettable journeys. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and show your support, it truly matters. And I want to hear from you. Flood the comments section with your thoughts and theories about this ending. What might happen next? Share your ideas. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. True fans act now, so let us spread the magic and mystery together.